Hi, I'm the University of Colorado's Dr. Jackson Crawford. I'm an Old Norse specialist, and I make videos on YouTube about topics in Norse language and myth. I have a series of videos that introduce different Norse gods in about 3 minutes, so I've done Odin, Loki, and Thor so far. One that I've been asked about quite a bit is Tyr, to use the Old Norse reconstructed pronunciation of his name. For more about that pronunciation, see the top right corner. It is different from modern Icelandic pronunciation. Tyr may once have been a more central god in the mythology than he is in the prose and poetic Edda where we read about him. His name is cognate with the name of the Greek god Zeus, or the Roman equivalent Jupiter. This name is related to the root for the word sky in Proto-Indo-European, and so this is apparently a father sky figure in the Indo-European pantheon. It's interesting that he is not the head of the pantheon in the Norse sources, though. That position has been usurped by Odin. Of course, it's possible that Tyr never actually was the head of the pantheon, but it is an interesting speculation based on his name. The few sources where we really read about him include 2 poems in the poetic Edda. Lokasenna, where he is insulted by the god Loki for having had his hand bitten off by the wolf Fenrir, a story we read about in more detail in the prose Edda. And then in the poem Himiskvida, where Tyr, together with Thor, travels to Jotunheimr to recover a cauldron big enough to brew beer for all the gods from Tyr's father, who was a giant named Hymir. In the prose Edda, Snorri tells us not only that Tyr will die in Ragnarok at the hands of the dog Garmr, who guards the gates of hell, but also a little bit more detail about how Tyr lost his hand to Fenrir. Early in the history of Osgarður, the realm of the gods, Loki and the giant woman Angrboda had 3 children. There was Hel, the half-living, half-corpse queen of the realm of the dead called Hel. There was the Midgard serpent, Midgard's Ormr, also called Jormungandr, and then there was the giant wolf Fenrir. The gods bound Fenrir because Osgarður was too holy of a place to kill him, and Fenrir was too strong and continued to break out of the chains they put him in. So the gods and Fenrir made kind of a game out of this. Well, finally the gods went to the dwarves and had them make a chain that would be strong enough to contain Fenrir. But of course, since Fenrir was strong enough to break anything, they had to make the chain out of things that didn't exist. So the chain was made out of things like fish's breath and women's beards and the sound of a cat's footfalls. Well, Fenrir looked at this chain when the gods brought it before him, and they said, "Oh, you'll surely break out of this like you have all the other chains." But Fenrir looked at it skeptically. He said, "Oh, I don't know, is that a fish's breath I see there, maybe?" So he said, "I need some kind of a pledge that this isn't being done deceitfully and that this won't hold me forever. I need one of the gods to put a hand in my mouth." So Tyr put his right hand in Fenrir's mouth when they bound Fenrir up, and when Fenrir could not break out of the chain, but in fact was held all the tighter the stronger that he struggled, he bit Tyr's hand off. And as Snorri says in the prose Edda, everyone laughed except Tyr. So this may be part of why Snorri says that Tyr is not considered a maker of peace among men, either because he is so honest or because he is, well, still embittered about losing his hand. The name of Tuesday in the English days of the week is named for Tyr, or his English cognate name, Tiw. Although, again, we have very little evidence for more myths about Tyr than the very few that we read about in the poetic Edda and the prose Edda. For now, from beautiful Colorado, I'm wishing you all the best.